Welcome back. You're in for a treat today. I am sharing the panel discussion from the book launch soiree that we had with the very first authors to be publishing through Yoke and Abundance Press. Anessa Fike of Fike & Co. is moderating this discussion, and you'll be hearing from first-time authors Ramin Gillette, author of a book of poetry called Us and Them, Allison Kendall Perel, author of Good Night and Good Luck, and Amy Benosi, author of Bearing It All. I can't wait to share this one with you after a word from our sponsor. Today's podcast is brought to you by Fike & Co., a progressive boutique consulting firm that works with entrepreneurs, startups, small to medium-sized companies, and larger organizations to cultivate a place where people love coming to work. If you are looking for strategic guidance on people programs or interim people leadership, contact Fike & Co. Your people will thank you.
We're going to kick off, and I just want to have everyone go down the line and introduce themselves. Tell us a little bit about what makes them who they are in the world and what their books are going to be about with Yoke and Abundance Press. So go ahead, kick us off.
Hi, I am Allison Kendall, and I'm an author. Thank you. I actually just reached one of my deadlines this afternoon,
Nice!
Which was very exciting. I am also the mother of 2 young boys and a stepson. So I am a boy mom through and through.
Yay, boy moms!
Yeah, pray for me. And I am also the owner of a retail business in the town where I live, which is in Easton, Maryland.
Woo!
Okay, I'm Ramin Gillette, and you did not tell me I was going to be on stage today. How did I miss that memo? Anyway, I'm Ramin. I'm writing a book called Us and Them. I live in Asheville. As the title suggests, it's a book very much about what this evening is sort of about, right? Us and them, and how are we going to conquer this world together, right? So how are we, so I grew up in Africa, Cameroon, so I read a lot about my experiences growing up, coming back to the States, going back there. I'm half Persian. There's Jews, Muslims, and Christians in my family, Baha'is. So what kind of world are we going to live where we can cohabitate? And actually, not just cohabitate. How can we all
Thrive.
contribute to building, like all of us, right? So how do we bring this consciousness of togetherness and oneness and practice it so that young girls growing up don't have to struggle so much? The story you shared. So my book is about that.
Awesome.
And it's poetry.
It's a book of poetry.
Amazing. Thank you.
Okay, can you repeat the question?
Yes. So tell us about who you are in the world.
Okay.
And what your book is about that you're going to publish with Yoke and Abundance Press.
Okay, I'm
That's
going to
okay.
pass
We
it
can come
back
back.
to Allison on that after. So my name is Amy Benosi, and I live in Northern Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C.
Yeah, Nova.
Woo woo! One of my biggest things of who I am in this world is a part of Raw. It has actually changed and shaped the past couple years for me, and changes the answers of what my book is about. I also am the mom of 3 boys, so boy moms. Mm-hmm. My book is called Bearing It All. And what started out as a book to help women endure and make it through the trauma of breast cancer turned into a memoir about a woman who needed to learn the traumas that she had suffered throughout life and the emotions that she had hid all of her life by being a serial optimist. Unfortunately, it took breast cancer to make it happen. But yeah, that's what my book is about.
And you all know what my book's about, so I'm going to skip that question.
We can pass it back. She's going to tell us about her book really quick.
Yeah, the book I submitted today.
Round of applause for that. Yeah.
The title is Good Night and Good Luck, and it is about my journey with grief in the year after my dad died in 2016, and all of the ups and downs of life that I experienced. 3 months after he died, I got married. A month after that, I found out I was pregnant. And so I had a lot of growth, a lot of experiences, and a lot of things that I was not ready for. So my book is a memoir about that journey that I'm still on.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you all so much for introducing yourselves. Round of applause for these amazing people to step out into the world and tell their story. So I want to do a question that's not on the Alicia pre-approved list. I'm going a bit rogue, which if you know me, this is my style. So I'd love to know, what does Yoke in Abundance mean to you? Right, you're publishing under Yoke in Abundance Press. I know probably for everyone in the room, we all have our own ties to Yoke in Abundance. But as authors, as the inaugural authors, publishing under Yoke in Abundance Press, what do those two words mean to you? Not to put you on the spot, and if you need to take a minute, we can come back to it.
Is anybody ready? Okay.
We didn't prep.
For me, Yoke in Abundance Press and being able to publish through Yoke in Abundance Press truly means having the opportunity to elevate my own voice that I've kept silent and to help others through that process.
So yeah, I mean, I've known Alicia for years, and today was impressive, right? And it's really incredible how she has really brought community here together this evening from all walks of life, so diverse. Would be nice to see more men here, huh?
I know.
No, it's nice. It's nice. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But men have to learn these things too, right? So we have to be around this. So this is what she's creating, and I feel like this is when you come in the space and you feel the way you feel, connected to each other, right? That's what it is.
That's great. Thank you.
Back to me. Okay. To me, I think that Yoke in Abundance Press is about community, and it's about being lifted up. Alicia and I work together in other ways, and I feel like I am constantly being lifted up by her and being a part of a community and feeling like I have somebody who believes in me enough to share me with her community is a power that I would not have been able to tap into. So that is what that is to me.
That's amazing. Thank you. So I'm going to take a moment to just kind of bring the crowd into this for just a second. I think that all of us have a tie to Alicia that is powerful. So if you have experienced more power in your day-to-day life because of Alicia or Yoke in Abundance, please raise your hand. This is what you've put into the world. So let's give ourselves a round of applause and Alicia a round of applause. Okay, so as an English major, which my husband makes fun of me for, I have a master's in English, and he swears half the words I say aren't in the English language. I have always wanted to be an author. This one over here has always told me to be an author. I have not made the leap yet to be an author. But what was it about all of you? Go ahead, were you going to say something?
You're gonna publish through me by the time I'm done with you. I'm just telling you right now.
It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I just don't know what I want to write about yet. I can write lots of words. I'm both a journalism major and an English major, so one part of me is like, keep it short, tell people what they need to know, and the other part is like, write 50 pages. So, yeah, I just have to figure out which way I'm gonna go. But I wanted to ask each of you today, what was it that made you finally make that leap to write your book and tell your story?
I got this one in the bag. Alicia.
Nice.
I mean, truly, I started working with Alicia, and one of the first things we did was talk about core values. Mm-hmm. I never knew how important those were, and it is something that I have carried with me every day since. And she was going through the program, and we were talking, and she was like, you have to tell your story. And I talked about this story that I had wanted to write since my first son was born. And that was really what it was. It was hearing somebody else who I had never met in person until yesterday, that they had a belief in me that I didn't see in myself. Mm-hmm. And that was that push and that drive for me.
I guess we can go this way. So, I think we were messaging one day, and I was like, "Oh, Alicia, what's up?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm in a writing program, and I'm writing a book." So I said, very casually, she says, and so I asked, like, "What's the program?" So she tells me about the program. I'm like, we've been talking about writing for years. It's been a struggle. People struggle with this. Clearly, we're all struggling writers. It never ends wherever you are. So I was like, she said you'll love it. So I looked it up, and there it was. And it's sort of really created a community around writing, which I'm so thankful for, and which a lot of writers need. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it takes a village, no? So. I've always been writing, so this was it.
Awesome.
A lot of what dear Allie said to the side of me. This was not my first time writing, but the last time I wrote for a book, it was not my own book. I participated in a multi-author community book, and I got to write a chapter. And at that time, that was what I needed, and that was all I could handle. And then just through working with Alicia and her knowing what my goals and dreams are and how I want to help lift up other women and create community through a lot of the things that she has taught me, like spirituality and creativity and honesty. When she shared the program, I just knew that the Creator Institute was a great way to do that.
I'm wondering how many people in here have ever thought, God, I think someday I might want to write a book. Yeah, raise your hand. Higher. Cam, I saw you. I saw that. Wait, I didn't get to see over here. Raise your hand. Oh, May, yeah. Okay, yes. If that dream is in your heart, you can do it. And here's the thing. Even if you're like, I don't even know what I want to write about, the Creator Institute helps you from the beginning to the end. And then they help you figure out what that idea is for that book. And so it sounds so big and so overwhelming and so scary, right? Like a whole freaking book, right? It is a lot of work, but it's doable. And it's not really about the book ever. It's about what you learn about yourself in the process of writing the book. So no matter what reason you have, y'all know, y'all are going through it right now. Jeannie Duncan, where are you? Looking. She's probably submitting for her deadline right now. It's probably what's happening. Yeah. Because she's submitting her book right now. She and I wrote together a lot. But that's all to say, if you want to write a book, do it. Just let me know and I'll help you make it happen, okay?
And the world right now, as we know it, is mostly a dumpster fire. So get your voices out there, right? I just told my husband the other week, can I just write a book called Smash the Effing Patriarchy?
Yes, you can.
Yeah? Very well may be what my book is about. But we'll get there, right?
And I
We'll
said
get
we
there.
could do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
And you are allowed to have the F word on your
Yes. Oh, okay, good. I love it. I love the F word. It's useful in the English language. So, yes, first thing you learn. Okay, good. First thing you learn. Love that. I know, that's good because I know a lot of cuss words in other languages, but not much more. How did you decide what you wanted to write about? And I know some of you kind of went into this with being in Raw and Alicia understanding your story, but how did you pinpoint that when you got into the Creator Institute, for those that are in it? How did you pinpoint separating that out? How did you focus in? This is self-serving because I really want to.
I think working with an editor is really helpful. So you don't know what you're going to write, so you just keep writing. You write, whatever comes to you, you keep writing. The editor, you go back to your editor, you go back and forth, right? So it's a process.
Just whatever comes out, what's flowing from you in that moment.
If you don't know really what you're, especially if you don't really have an idea of what you want to write about. So a lot of that is just exploring. So it's like it's a kid in a candy store. Like, what are you going to write about? So you continue writing, and then you work with an editor, and that. But I think everyone's story is different, and that was my story. You write a poem about about your childhood, then you write another poem about society, and then what is the connection, right? So. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of built-in process around creativity and how to, just find patterns, right? That's really creativity. So, and then something maybe comes to your heart, and you're like, that's what's going to be. So for me, it was, that theme of us and them came up. So.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Repeat the question.
So
Just because I just want to make sure that it's right in my head.
How did you decide what to write about? How did you focus in?
So I had said earlier that I had the idea to write this book after the birth of my son. My son was born a week after the 1-year anniversary of my dad's death. And the people that showed up for me when my dad died were the same people that showed up for me in the hospital to meet my son. And for me, there was that parallel of life and death. And all of the things that I had experienced in that short but long year, I knew people could relate to so many different aspects. And I knew that my journey was mine alone. We all grieve. We will all experience grief, and it will be different for every single one. But I know that people will be able to relate and feel seen by parts of my story. And I also knew that if I didn't do it through the Creator Institute with their deadlines and all of the requirements, that this story would live in notes on my phone, in pages in my journals, in text messages, in screenshots, in photos. It would live there forever, and I would never fully grieve.
Gosh, I just love you. So I really went in, as I said, with an idea. I knew it was going to be about breast cancer. It was such an impact on my life, and I had said I didn't want to let it define me. However, I had been very open book. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Okay, about my cancer fuckery, as I call it, because it is not a damn journey. And for me, and I'd been very open about it through blogging and sharing my story on Facebook. And so many people said to me that it resonated with them. And really for me, that was the connection. I have always wanted to just help others. And so that's how, like I said, I started it. Took lots of twists and turns to get where I am. And to be completely honest, I wrote the entire other book and had 2 beta readers, one of which is, who told me, this isn't the book that you were meant to write. And had that not happened, to be honest, I went through the entire process they're talking about, wrote the whole book, and have now pretty much restarted writing this book. So it's a process.
Awesome. I shouldn't have enjoyed that.
Cheers.
Well, I know that, Yoke in Abundance means a lot to all of us in this room. Yoke in Abundance Press is the light and the voices in the world that the world needs right now, right? And the world has always needed, but this is the way that it's going to hear them, right? And so I think that with all of the hands raised, there will be a lot more voices coming into the world through books, through Yoke in Abundance Press in years to come. And the one thing I will leave you with as we wrap up the panel is be brave, right? These 4 people have been wonderfully brave in putting their words and their experiences that they have lived in a book format. And so that's what I will leave you with. I'm also going to take my own medicine and hear that myself. But that's what I will leave you with at the end of this panel. Thank you all.